Jackie Robbery, what we need. Don't let the lies of this world take me. I struck out fast as I could, hide, knowing if I just keep my eyes on you, I'd be good, I would. And I know you see me, like a child wandering from a distance. You call out to me.
The AXA purpose is the generally acceptable way that will continue to have indelible impact on human progress by protecting what matters, with innovation being our main driver. The AXA purpose is the generally acceptable way that will continue to have indelible impact on human progress. The AXA purpose protecting what matters is generally acceptable way.
No pain, plenty gain is the new phrase.
Why do you say so?
My AXA Mansard money market fund account yields interest like an investment, yet it operates like a normal savings account.
But what does that have to do with no pain, plenty gain?
It means I enjoy competitive returns on my savings and can still access it without any penalties whenever I need it.
Oh, I see.
Open an AXA Mansard money market fund account to enjoy competitive returns on savings. Also enjoy prompt liquidations without penalties. Track daily interest with ease. Transact online and via USSD. AXA, know you can.
Guy, weren't you just boggled the other day? Your apartment looks just the same way it was before the incident. Wow.
Yes, bro. But you know how when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, especially when you have the right connect to pick you back up.
Eh?
Anyway, my partner took care of it.
Madu. But wait, guy. Aren't you single?
You don't know about it. It's AXA.
The AXA purpose is the generally acceptable way that will continue to have indelible impact on human progress by protecting what matters, with innovation being our main driver. sustainable way that will continue to have
I struck out fast as I could, knowing if I just keep my eyes on you, I'd be good, I would. Now you called, I heard you call me up. All the Pharisaic laws that I break, you call me anyway. So how could I go this far without you? How could I go on this far without my love? How could I go this far without you? Letting it go like it was a dream. Stay with me, bye-bye. My Jackie rolling. Don't let the lies of this world take me down. I struck out fast as I could.
The AXA purpose is the generally acceptable way that will continue to have indelible impact on human progress by protecting what matters, with innovation being our main driver.
Mimi, where's your mommy?
I struck out.
A major part of being a parent is being present.
Where's your mommy?
For the little moments that make all the difference.
Where's her mommy?
To the biggest achievements that shape their future.
And the winner is Mimi Idris.
This is why the AXA Life Insurance Plan is designed to take care of you, so you are there for the moments that matter. Stay in the picture and be the parent you want to be. Call 0700 AXA Mansard today to speak to an AXA financial advisor.
Now that you have additional funds for the expansion of your business, is it protected?
So, your business is thriving, but is it protected?
I know you've got the best hands running your business, but are they protected? Think about it.
AXA's values are
customer first, integrity, courage, and one AXA. Now, how do these values drive the vision and our actions?
It's a very interesting question. Like Peter Drucker once said, culture is strategy for breakfast. I would say for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whenever you have an effective culture that can drive the strategy, everything falls back. In AXA, we actually pride ourselves in a very strong corporate culture, which runs our value system. Customer service is the best thing for us all the time because we design, we think, we plan, we execute from customer's perspective. From the beginning of our solution design, we think and listen to the customer, and also we get according to the customer, and even collect feedback and review from the customer from time to time. This is constantly in our DNA that helps us to be able to meet the customer's expectation and be able to see that. We also pride ourselves in one AXA. One AXA means to us that we collaborate together as staff, from the board of directors to management to every staff. As a culture, as individual, but we all collaborate, strengthen our various individuality to be able to deliver the best for the customer. And that's what keeps us going as a company. And then, of course, we pride in integrity. We are a very helpful company. We do what we say and we say what we do. We constantly set very good standard, professional-wise, to all, even our community as well as all the players in our industry. We are a very helpful company. And this is what we continue to do so that we can constantly deliver customers' expectations and achieve our objective as a company. And of course, the last but not the least is courage. As AXA, we are very courageous. We are innovative. We constantly wear our thinking cap to look at solutions that constantly cut ahead and deliver customer expectations. We dare to say no to things that we think is not going to be beneficial, and we stand to constantly, challenge status quo so that we constantly improve our processes, our system, and our service delivery to our customers. So at AXA, innovation is nature to us, and we constantly deliver this beautiful solution to the market, and we pioneer in the industry many firsts, as we always see. First in healthcare, first in response to customers during claims, first in many things that continue to empower people to live a better life.
Customer first, of course, is about the client at the center of everything we do. But it's not just from the salesperson's perspective. It's from every one of us actually doing our bit to listen to the customer, to understand the customer's need, to understand what challenges the customer is facing. How do you really know what the customer wants if we don't ask them, right? And the biggest challenge is that sometimes we don't ask, we just assume. So it's really about understanding how we can improve that customer's journey. How can we make it better? What would they like? What don't they like? What is more important to them today? Because what is important to them today will be different from what it was yesterday, and will definitely be different from what it will be tomorrow. So it's really about getting every one of us to listen, to improve, to continually ask, what would you like done? What needs to be done differently? The journey is also not about the external client alone. It's about all of us internally, working together, rethinking our processes, the journey that we're on, and ensuring that we can work together to deliver the right level of solution, support, and excellence to our clients. That's what keeps us in business.
My name is Ayodele Adeniyi Adepoju. I work as a portfolio manager with AXA Mansard Investment Limited.
My name is Princess Ebiwoba. I've worked in the AXA family for 4 years.
My name is Owen Bitai. I've been part of the AXA family for over 7 years, where I've served in various capacities. Currently, I'm the Chief Investment Officer, where my primary responsibility is oversight of the group's investment assets. Two key things I love about AXA are the people and culture.
I enjoy helping investors surmount the obstacles of investing in other securities or other investments other than the Naira domiciliary securities. This has been a lovely experience for me. I've worked for 2 years with AXA Mansard. I love the people. This is because of the young intellectuals that I work with, and also the culture here. It's been very, very lovely.
I also love our diversity and inclusion policy, top notch. And I love how we put the customer first. In my role, I ensure that customers are put first, they get their claims on time. I love how our process are fine-tuned to ensure that by making our customers live better lives.
When you join the AXA family, there's a great feeling of warmth. More importantly is how I'm able to see my work add value to the company and the customers, thereby empowering them on a daily basis.
Working in AXA is the best.
Drive with confidence, knowing you are covered.
I struck out fast as I could, knowing if I just keep my eyes on you, I'd be good, I would. Now you called, I heard you call me up. All the Pharisaic laws that I break, you call me anyway. So how could I go this far without you? How could I go on this far without my love? How could I go this far without you? Letting it go like it was a dream. Bye-bye. Stay with me. Bye-bye. My Jackie Rory, what me? Don't let the lies of this world take me down. I struck out fast as I could. Knowing if I just keep my eyes on you, I'd be good, I would. And I know you see me, yeah, like a child wandering from a distance. You call out to me.
Authorities, that is the National Insurance Commission, NICOM. Thank you for coming. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and the Corporate Affairs Commission. I welcome members of the press and others attending this meeting. I would like to draw attention to the Register of Shareholders, which is available for inspection. I would also like to draw attention to the Register of Directors, Directors' Shareholding, which is available for inspection during this meeting in compliance with Section 3018 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. I also draw the attention of members to the Register of Directors' attendance at meetings, which is pursuant and which is also available for inspection pursuant to S284.2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Before we commence the meeting, I would like to call on the company's health and safety personnel, Ms. Ezene Okori, to give us the HS briefing. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman of the Board, distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ezine, and I will be reading the COVID-19 safety measures for this meeting on behalf of the AXA Mansard Risk Management and Security Group. COVID-19 has resulted in a global pandemic, which has necessitated national and state governments to place restrictions on large gatherings. In compliance to the role of my function to ensure compliance to laws and regulations, I confirm that we do not have more than 50 people physically present at this meeting today. I confirm that we have checked the temperature of all attendees and did not admit anyone with temperature higher than 37.3 Celsius. I confirm that all attendees were mandated to use hand sanitizers at the point of entry. Other safety measures put in place include improving ventilation and preventing exposure to high contact surfaces by leaving the doors of the hall and the washroom open. For the safety of all, face masks are required to be worn throughout the duration of the meeting, and social distancing should be maintained at all times. Thank you all for your attention, and I wish us all a successful EGM.
Thank you very much, Ezine. I will now like to introduce other members here with me and our other officers. I'll start with myself. My name is Shola Adeyo, by your grace, chairman of the company. Thank you. To my right is Mr. Kunle Ahmed, the CEO. And to my left, I have the company secretary, Mrs. Omaomi Adewusi. In line with approval received from the Corporate Affairs Commission for the attendance of this meeting by proxy, we have the mandate of the following directors to represent them at this meeting. Mrs. Rashidat Adebisi, who is an executive director. Mr. Hassan El Shabrawishi, a non-executive director. Mr. Tope Adeni, non-executive director. Mr. John Dixon, non-executive director. And Mr. Kuldeep Kaushik, a non-executive director. May I also introduce the officers and advisors of the company who are to stand as they are introduced, please. I introduce our auditors, Messrs. KPMG Professional Services, represented by Mr. Femi Awutoye. Thank you very much. Next is Mr. Akinbola Akinola, shareholders representative and member of the Statutory Audit Committee. Thank you. Next to that committee, next to Statutory Committee member, next is Mr. Ibrahim Alagbe, representing DCSL Corporate Services Limited. We have already been informed by Corporate Affairs Commission and the Security and Exchange Commission that they will be attending the meeting via live stream. I'd also like to introduce the representative of NICOM, Mrs. Ladi James, please. And thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. We know it's been a bit of a stretch. Mr. Bonaventure Onwuji, representing the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Next is Mr. Ibrahim Alagbe, representing DCSL Corporate Services Limited. No, sorry, I think I did that. Yeah. I will like to introduce the following proxies present at this meeting. Chief Timothy Adesina. I don't believe I've seen Baba. Yeah, okay. Well, that's being gender sensitive. Mrs. Ganiat Adetutu Shinyobola. Thank you, madam. Sir Sonny Nwosu. Thank you very much. Mr. Olufemi Abolude. Mr. Opeyemi Ojedele Akinwumi. Thank you. Mrs. Bisi Bakari. Thank you very much. And Mr. Oladimeji Adeleke. Thank you. I now call on the Secretary to read the notice convening the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. Notice is hereby given that the 29th Annual General Meeting of AXA Mansard Insurance PLC will hold at the Oriental Hotel, Victoria Island, Lagos, on Friday, May 7, 2021 at 10 a.m. to transact the following business. Ordinary business, to receive the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2020, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and statutory audit committee thereon. 2, to elect a director. 3, to declare a dividend. 4, to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. 5, to disclose the remuneration of the managers. And 6, to elect the shareholder representatives of the statutory audit committee by order of the board. Thank you.
Sorry.
Proxy. A member entitled to attend and vote at the annual general meeting is entitled to appoint a proxy from the proxy stated in the notice to attend and vote in his or her stead in accordance with the Corporate Affairs Commission guidelines on holding general meetings using proxies. For the appointment to be valid, a completed and duly stamped proxy form must be deposited at the office of the registrar, Datamax Limited, number 2, C. Bagada Express Road, Bagada Phase 1, Lagos State, not less than 48 hours before the time fixed for the meeting. A blank proxy form is attached to this annual report by order of the board. Attendance and voting by proxy. In the interest of public safety and having due regard to COVID-19 guidelines and restrictions for safe mass gatherings in Nigeria by the Nigerian Center for Disease and Control, Lagos State Government, and pursuant to the CAC guidelines on holding annual general meetings by public companies using proxies, only persons indicated to be selected as proxies on the proxy form will be attending the meeting physically. All other shareholders will be required to attend the meeting online and to vote at the meeting through a proxy. In view of the foregoing, the approval of the CAC was obtained for the annual general meeting to be held by proxy. A proxy may be selected from any of the following individuals. The selected proxies: Mr. Olushola Adeyo, the chairman; Mr. Kunle Ahmed, the CEO; Chief Timothy Adesina, shareholder; Mrs. Ganiat Adetutu Shinyobola, shareholder; Sir Sonny Nwosu, shareholder; Mr. Olufemi Abolude, shareholder; Mr. Opeyemi Ojedele Akinwumi, shareholder; Mrs. Bisi Bakari, shareholder; Mr. Agbola Akinyola, shareholder; and Mr. Oladimeji Adeleke, shareholder. The selected proxies are to attend the meeting and vote on their own behalf, as well as on behalf of shareholders who selected them as proxies. The selected proxies are encouraged to comply with the relevant public health advice in order to protect the health of others. Other shareholders can attend the meeting and participate in the proceedings online via real-time streaming options which have been provided in this notice. A proxy form will be sent to the registered email address of the shareholders and would also be available online at Datamax Registrar's website, AXA Mansard website, and attached to the annual report. It is requested that duly executed proxy form, together with any power of attorney or any other authority under which it is signed, or a notarized copy of such power of attorney or any other authority, be lodged at the office of Datamax Registrars Limited, as shown on the proxy form, not less than 48 hours before the appointed time for the meeting. The stamping of the proxy form will be borne by the company. Accreditation of shareholders to attend the meeting via electronic platform. Shareholders who intend to attend the meeting electronically are required to register for the meeting by visiting maxmeeting.datamaxgroup.com.ng. Kindly be informed that the shareholders will be required to provide their registered email address or addresses and phone numbers in completing the accreditation. A message containing a unique link to be utilized for attending the meeting will be sent to the registered email of shareholders upon completion of the accreditation process. Dividends. If approved, dividends will be payable on Friday, May 7, 2021 at the rate of 5.5 kobo per every 50 kobo ordinary shareholder to shareholders whose names are registered in the Register of Members as at close of business on Tuesday, April 22, 2021. Shareholders who have completed and submitted the e-dividend mandate form will receive a direct credit of the dividends into their bank accounts indicated in the e-dividend mandate form immediately after the AGM. E-dividend mandate. Shareholders are kindly requested to update their records and advise Data Max Registrars Limited of their updated records and relevant bank accounts for the payment of their dividends. The shareholders' data update form and the e-dividend mandate form are contained in this annual report. The completed form should be submitted to Data Max Registrars Limited at their office located at number 2C, Bagada Expressway, Bagada Phase 1, Lagos. Unclaimed dividends. The list of all unclaimed dividends will be circulated with the annual report, and all shareholders with unclaimed dividends are advised to submit their completed e-mandate dividend form by email or writing to the registrars, Data Max Registrars Limited, at number 2C, Bagada Expressway, Bagada Phase 1, Lagos State. The e-annual report, the electronic version of the annual report is available at www.axamansard.com, and shareholders who have provided their email addresses to the registrars will receive the electronic version of the annual report by email. Furthermore, shareholders who are interested in receiving the electronic version of the annual report are kindly required to request by email to annualreports@datamaxregistrars.com. Closure of register. The register of members will be closed on April 23rd, 2021 in accordance with the provisions of Section 114 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap 20, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2020. Statutory Audit Committee. In accordance with Section 406, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, a shareholder may nominate another shareholder for appointment to the Statutory Audit Committee. Such nomination shall be in writing and should reach the Company Secretary at least 21 days before the annual general meeting. Kindly note that the provisions of the Code of Corporate Governance issued by the Securities and Exchange Committee indicate that some of the members of the Statutory Audit Committee should have basic financial literacy and the knowledge in internal control processes. In view of the foregoing, nominations to the Statutory Audit Committee should be supported by the CV or resume of the nominees. Election of directors. Mr. Kuldeep Kaushik is being proposed for election as a non-executive director. His appointment has been approved by the National Insurance Commission and will be presented for shareholders' approval at the 29th Annual General Meeting. The profile of the aforementioned director is available in the annual report and is also on the company's website at www.axamansard.com. Shareholders' right to ask questions. In line with Rule 1912C of the Listing Rules of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, shareholders of the company reserve the right to ask questions not only at the annual general meeting, but also in writing prior to the meeting, and such questions must be submitted to the company not later than 7 days to the date of the meeting. Such questions should be addressed to the company secretary and reach the company at the head office by electronic email at legalteam@axamansard.com. The website. A copy of the notice and other information relating to the meeting can be found at www.axamansard.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Amomi. On the quorum, the company's articles of association fix quorum for general meetings at 5. Oh, thank you. Thank you all. The company's articles of association fix quorum for general meetings at 5 or more shareholders or proxies holding not less than 50% of the issued capital of the company. For the purposes of determining the quorum, all proxies shall be counted. I now call on the company secretary to confirm the quorum.
Good morning again. From the information provided by the registrars, I hereby confirm that we have a quorum for this meeting with 55 proxies attending with 80.48%, shareholders representing themselves holding 1.08%. Total shareholders here and along with proxies at this meeting is 81.56%. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So following this confirmation from Company Secretary that proper quorum has been formed for this meeting and duly convened and properly constituted, I hereby declare the meeting open and welcome you once again to the 29th Annual General Meeting of AXA Mansard Insurance PLC. In view of the current global pandemic and in accordance with the Corporate Affairs Commission's guidelines on holding of annual general meetings of public companies, the attendance for this meeting is by proxy only, and the necessary approval was duly obtained from the Commission. We wish to notify you that the meeting is being streamlined live for all our shareholders, regulators, and observers who are not physically present here for this meeting. We also wish to assure everybody that we will observe all the social distancing limitations on gathering requirements, and the proceedings for this meeting will be conducted in a timely manner. For those attending the meeting online, all microphones will be permanently muted unless you have been given the permission to speak. You can ask questions during the Q&A sessions by clicking on the raise hand icon on the streaming platform. You can also type your questions via the question icon, and same will be addressed and responded to. For those present in the room, please raise your hand if you have any questions. Now to the Director's Report and Financial Statements. I have the pleasure of presenting the Director's Report and audited financial statements of the company, as well as the Chairman's statement for the year ended December 31, 2020, copies of which have been previously circulated to shareholders, and I suggest that they be taken as read. Thank you. I now lay before you the Director's Report and audited accounts of the company for the year ended December 31, 2020, in accordance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act and the company's articles of association. Auditor's report. I now invite Mr. Femi Awotoye, a representative of the auditor, KPMG Professional Services, to read the report of the auditor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, all distinguished shareholders. The independent auditor's report is on pages 53 to 56 of the annual report. Mr. Chairman, if I have the permission of shareholders, I will read an abridged version of the report.
Is that okay? Yeah. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Independent auditors report to the shareholders of AXA Mansard Insurance PLC the report on the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements and the opinion. We have audited the consolidated and separate financial statements of AXA Mansard Insurance PLC, the company, and its subsidiaries, together called the group, which comprise 1. The consolidated and separate statements of financial position as at the 31st of December 2020. 2. The consolidated and separate statements of comprehensive income. 3. The consolidated and separate statements of changes in equity. 4. The consolidated and separate statements of cash flows for the year then ended. And 5. The notes comprising significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. In our opinion, the accompanying consolidated and separate financial statements give a true and fair view of the consolidated and separate financial position of the company and its subsidiaries as at the 31st of December 2020, and of its consolidated and separate financial performance and its consolidated and separate cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with international financial reporting standards and in the manner required by the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020, and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act 2011, the Insurance Act 2003, and relevant National Insurance Commission of Nigeria NICOM circulars. On the last page of the audit report, which is on page 56, is our report on other legal and regulatory requirements. First, compliance with the requirements of Schedule 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act and Section 28, subsection 2 of the Insurance Act 2003. 1. We have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of the audit. 2. In our opinion, proper books of account have been kept by the company, so far as appears from our examination of those books, and proper returns adequate for the purpose of our audit have been received. And 3. The company's statement of financial position and statement of comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of account and returns. Lastly, penalties. The company did not pay penalties in respect of contraventions of the requirements of NICOM, guidelines and circulars during the year ended 31st December 2020. The audit report was signed by me, Oluwafemi Awotoye, for KPMG Professional Services. It is dated 29th of March 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is the Statutory Audit Committee report. I invite Mr. Gbola Akinola, a shareholder representative and member of the Statutory Audit Committee, to read the committee's report.
Good morning, all. Good morning, all. Yes. This is the report of the Statutory Audit Committee and is contained on page 50 of the report. My name is Gbola Akinola, and I'm rendering this report on behalf of the chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee, Mr. Ohis Ohiwere. In compliance with the provisions of Section 4047 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act of Nigeria, 2020, the members of the Audit Committee of AXA Mansard Insurance PLC hereby report as follows. We have exercised our statutory functions under Section 4047 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act of Nigeria, CAMA 2020, and acknowledge the cooperation of management and staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. We are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the group are in compliance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices, and that the scope and planning of both the external and internal audits for the year ended 31st December 2020 were satisfactory and reinforce the group's internal control systems. We have deliberated with the external auditors who have confirmed that necessary cooperation was received from management in the course of the statutory audit, and we are satisfied with management's responses to the recommendations for improvement and with the effectiveness of the group system of accounting and internal control. Signed, Mr. Ohis Ohiwere, Chairman, Statutory Audit Committee, and is dated 12 February 2021. Members of this committee are Mr. Ohis Ohiwere, who acted as chairman, myself, Gbola Akinola, and Mrs. Ayodeji Oloye. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Akinola. So we move on quickly to external consultants report. I invite a representative of the external consultant, DCSL Corporate Services Limited, Mr. Ibrahim Alagbe, to read the report of the external consultant on the board appraisal in line with Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018, the NICOM Code of Corporate Governance for Insurance Companies 2021, and the Securities and Exchange Commission Corporate Governance Guidelines for Public Companies in Nigeria, issued in 2020. You may go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, distinguished shareholders. My name is Ibrahim Alagbe, representing DCSL Corporate Services Limited. I'll be reading our report on page 52 of the annual report. In line with the provision of Principle 14.1 of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018, Section 4.01, 1 and 2 of National Insurance Commission Corporate Governance Guidelines 2021, and Guideline 9 of the Securities and Exchange Commission Corporate Governance Guidelines for Public Companies in Nigeria, issued in 2020. DCSL Corporate Services Limited was appointed to undertake an appraisal of the Board of Directors of AXA Mansard Insurance PLC for the year ended 31st December 2020. The appraisal entailed a review of the company's corporate and statutory documents, the minutes of board and board committee meetings, policies, and other ancillary documents made available to us. We also administered board and peer review surveys to the directors. The essence of the review was to ascertain the level of the board's compliance with corporate governance practices, with particular reference to the provisions of the NICOM guidelines, SCGG, and the NCCG, and cover the following 7 key corporate governance themes. 1, board structure and composition. 2, strategy and planning. 3, board operations and effectiveness. 4, measuring and monitoring of performance. 5, risk management and compliance. 6, corporate citizenship. And 7, transparency and disclosure. We confirm that the board of directors continue to ensure that the company's governance practices align with the provisions of the SCGG, the NCCG, and the NICOM guidelines, as well as globally accepted best practices. The board demonstrates commitment to ensuring observance of highest ethical standards and transparency in the conduct of the company's business. We found from the director's peer assessment and chairman's leadership assessment surveys administered on the individual directors that they performed well against the governance indicators and remained committed to sustaining the growth of the company's business. We have brought to the attention of the board those areas that require improvement and are satisfied that the board has taken due notice of this. Yours faithfully for DCSL Corporate Services Limited, signed PCDM, Managing Director. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I guess we now go to the most dreaded hours in an AGM, question and answer sessions. I'd like to start with the lady, Mrs. Bakari, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, regulatory authorities here present this morning, my co-shareholders, good morning. My name is Mrs. Bisi Bakari. I'm the National Coordinator of Pragmatic Shareholders Association of Nigeria. First and foremost, Mr. Chairman, I want to commend the board, the entire board and management for providing a free teleconsultation for all AXA Mansard clients during the lockdown, during the first and almost end of second quarter of 2020, to have access to medical experts even when clients could not visit the hospital. This is highly commendable, Mr. Chairman, and I want the management to keep it up. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, I also congratulate our company for the awards we received during the year under review by the world's leading insurance risk ratings agency, AM Best rating of B+. This affirmed our company financial strength. This is very good. I commend our company for such achievements. Also, our company, AXA Mansard, was named the most outstanding insurance of decade at the annual Marketing Stakeholder Summit Awards. Congratulations for this award. May our shadow never go less. Page 22. Looking at page 22, I like the picture I saw there. I so much love it. Confidence moves everyone forward. Of course, I agree with the management for that. The more protected we feel, the more confidence we become. And when that confidence is passed along to others, the world moves forward. No, you can. Wow, this is very good. Please, a round of applause for the management of AXA Mansard. Page 24, report of complaints received and resolved between January and December 2020. Mr. Chairman, this is highly commendable. Throughout the year, all the complaints received were all resolved, except 10 complaints that were unresolved within target guidelines. I think this board and management, they really deserve a very sound of applause for this achievement. Page 46, operating results. Of course, as a shareholder, if you have done well, we will say it. But if you do otherwise, of course, we will also say it. My leaders are here. They will testify to that. So, page 46, operating results. This is a very good result. All the indices for the group are all positive. Our gross written premium moved from 43.62 billion to 47.58 billion. Net premium income moved from 26.29 billion to 31.72 billion. Total underwriting profit grew by 22% from 6.118 billion to 7.437 billion. Total investment income also grew by 25% from 5.67 billion to 7.1 billion. Our profit before tax moved from 3.833 billion to 6 billion. Profit after tax also grew by 56% from 2.9 billion to 4.5 billion. Earnings per share moved from 11 kobo to 14 kobo. That is about 25% increase. Our insurance shareholders fund at the end of 2020 moved to 29.3 billion. Our share capital also increased from 5.25 billion to 18 billion. This is wonderful. I give kudos to entire board management of AXA Mansard for this great achievement. Also, Mr. Chairman, the situation for the company account is not really encouraging, but I believe it will be better in the coming year. Page 56. Page 56, penalties. In fact, I really give kudos to the entire board and executive management for not contravening any requirement of NICON guidelines and circulars during the year under review. This is very commendable. This is the first time I'm seeing insurance company that did not contravene any NICON guideline. Please keep it up. Page 57, trade receivables. Page 57. Our trade receivables amounted to 6.669 billion. But sir, I think with no premium, no cover, I don't know why we are having huge trade receivables. I think I need explanation on that. Furthermore, I would like our MD to throw more light on ways the stakeholders will be engaged in this new normal as we journey in 2021. Are we going to be exploring other business areas or develop the ones we have on ground? I want to know. Also, I want to know where we are on our road to recapitalization. Having sold 60% stake of our AXA Mansard pension at 3 billion, as captured on note 48 on discontinued operation on page 171, page 164. Other operating expenses. Looking at our other operating expenses, they all look good, except these two. Our rental expenses moved from 5.3 million to 73 million. I think I need explanation on this for the huge increase. The same thing on insurance-related expenses, from 41.5 million to 285.7 million, from 41.5 million to 285.7 million insurance-related expenses. I think I need explanation on this also. Lastly, I want to appreciate the entire board for recommending the final dividend of 5.5 kobo, despite the negative impact of the pandemic on economy and social activities all over the world. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the management, for inviting me for this great privilege. I wish every one of us journey mercy back to our various destinations. Once again, thank you for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bakari. And on behalf of everyone else on the board, I acknowledge all the compliments. You'll get the various explanations later. Mr. Sir Sonny-Wosu, please.
Mr. Chairman of AXA Mansard Insurance PLC, the management, all the regulators participating at this meeting, and more especially our registrars, that is the paymaster that is going to ensure that we get the dividend today. I salute you. I also especially appreciate my colleagues who are here. I want to thank you especially for inviting me to represent the thousands of shareholders that we're having. Thank you very much. Let me start on the note of the annual report itself. Okay, thank you. But I think the chairman introduced me. So, however, since it's the wish of those in attendance here that I should mention myself, my name is Sir Sonny-Wosu, KSS, National Coordinator Emeritus, Independent Shareholders Association of Let me start on the note of annual report. The annual report itself was not properly distributed to those shareholders. Let me clear it. Those shareholders who did not ask for electronic version of the report. There are two classes. One is for you to send in a letter that you would like to have electronic version. The other one is for those who did not ask for electronic version to ensure that they get this. And the reason is not too far. It is because most of the shareholders who are pensioners and just little shareholders may not have the cost of going through electronic version. So we cannot impose electronic version on them. So the board should sit down and look at it, sending out an abridged copy, which will not be too heavy to those people who did not ask for electronic version. I also would like to take us on page 6, which I think Mrs. Bakare did mention. Okay, no, on page 6, Mr. Chairman, we have seen under 1.1 of corporate information, we need to know why there's a high turnover of directors in this annual report. It is very, very important for us to know. I want to especially congratulate the board for the very good initiative of complying with NICON regulation by ensuring that we're fully capitalized. I am very happy about that, and that's stated on page 156 of this annual report, where it was reported that we are fully capitalized to 18 billion naira. The composite, the life, 8 billion naira, and the general, 10 billion naira. That's a good one for us. It gives us hope that whatever is the pictorial that Mrs. Bakare mentioned there on page 22, confidence moves everyone forward. You have taken a very good decision that will not actually make us to fear of anything. For the benefit of emphasis, to emphasize on one item that Mrs. Bakare made mention, it will be nice for the board and management to tell us what has happened to these 10 unsettled complaints, so that we will know that out of 60-something, we have only 10 pending. Why is this 10 still pending? From the period, page 24, from that period to now, one happened in April, another one happened in May, and another one in June, out of a total of 604. We're only having 10 outstanding. So it will be very interesting for us to really understand. I'm also very happy that on page 153, borrowing came down. 153. On page 153, as at last year, other year, 2019, we had about 7 billion naira, and the year under consideration, just 3 billion naira, which is very good. It's also giving us confidence that the dividend we are probably going to get for the year we are into now will be much better than the year under consideration. On page 152, we have unclaimed dividend. Mr. Chairman, yes, there's a list of unclaimed dividend attached to this annual report, but it's not alphabetically arranged. It has to be clearly alphabetically arranged so that on just pick up like this, people will be able. For me, I have discovered about 10 names here, which I will contact immediately we finish this meeting. Even your peer insurance company is involved there. Name is involved. I have to call up and say, you have money there, I'll go and take it, so that we can get better dividends from you. So that's very, very important. But the most important thing is that it has to be arranged alphabetically for people to. Yes, as I was talking on unclaimed dividend on page 152, it came down from the corresponding year from 66 million naira to 64 million naira. If you look down there, you will see it. I am worried about unclaimed dividend. Our company is still relatively young when we talk about this. So we must do everything possible to reduce the unclaimed dividend. But there's no way we cannot have unclaimed dividend in the investment climate. The reason being that letters of administration is very difficult to procure. Shola will not tell his family that he has a huge investment somewhere so that they don't start troubling him, give us money and all this and that. By the time he grows old and move to where everybody will go to, the family will not know. And this investment will continue to run. The dividend will remain there until letter of administration is procured. And my advice to people is that when you are getting a little bit older, when your hand will be shaking to sign your signature, transfer those shares to a company where you will have other directors if eventually what is ordained for everybody happens. There won't be a problem about those unclaimed dividends. Secondly, I also want to say that there's one external auditor, I will not mention the name because I'm still talking to them, who actually encourage government to go after unclaimed dividend and dormant accounts. They are advisors to government. I have it on my phone because we met at webinar where they said all this, advising government. It was from the amount we had that we have 25 trillion naira as in dormant accounts. It was also from the amount we had that we have 158 billion naira as unclaimed dividend, even though I told them that this thing reduces by the day. People still go and claim their dividend. But they are the advisors. And I am saying this, I am giving them opportunity to talk. If they fail to do what they are supposed to do, because they're also serving shareholders, we expose them to the whole world that these are the people, despite the fact that we are paying them. We are paying them auditor's fee. We are approving auditor's fee to them, yet they are undoing us. And let the world judge, because definitely they will lose some accounts from share companies that are quoted. So when you look at this unclaimed dividend that government is looking at, it is very punitive to companies that are quoted, because it doesn't affect companies that are not quoted. So here we are. We are the ones that bought shares from the stock exchange. We are the ones being punished for all this. So I am appealing to those of you who talk to them. I've done my own bit, will continue to do. Because I went to the Senate to defend the issue. And I abused them. I called them armed robbers. They couldn't do anything. And we know that in this country, government are actually armed robbers. But they will now use the next day, they will propose a legislation to cover what they have robbed from the people, so that to disarm the people for not taking. So I'm appealing that all hands must be on deck to save investment climate in this world. The major thing is that even the technical partners who brought in dollars with certificate or investment are not even giving foreign exchange backing to repatriate the profit from their investment, which of course means another high thing. The operating report on page 35. Page 35. My question there is, if you go to page 35, you will see the tax we paid. You will see the tax we paid the previous year was 1.1 billion, while the company paid 135 million. But the year under consideration, we are paying a tax of over 1.5 billion. I think there is need for us to understand the reasons behind this. Because if we had not paid this amount of tax to government, probably our dividend would have been about 10 kobo. As far as we are concerned, If you look at earning per share, which is 14 kobo, and you are giving us 5.5 kobo, Mr. Chairman, I think you need to talk to us. What is the reason behind shortchanging us? There are some of us who may not have as many shares as you have. Even if 2 kobo is declared, you'll be happy for it because of the number of shares that you have. So, but let us be just when we are taking a decision about shareholders. Mr. Chairman, I'm happy on page 38. On page 38 of the annual report, under page 38, we have an increase in the number of well, I think we have an increase in the number of staff that came in. Of course, I think I actually did not capture that, but what I am seeing here looks to me that we have an increase in staffing. On the issue of receivables, I think we can be helped by giving us the qualification of those things. I can't place it, whether we allowed 90 days credit to some of this because multinationals and all this and that before they pay. But the major thing is that at the point of cutoff of the year, there may be some monies that were not paid. Definitely, it will be recorded as receivables. But it's always very important to give us analysis of those receivables so that shareholders can really understand what has happened there. Mr. Chairman, I joined Mrs. Bakare to congratulate us for no penalty because NICOM is looking for money and any little thing, not only NICOM, even the central bank, that's their attitude. But most of them that comes out from that institution do not run a successful business. So what they do is to continue to penalize companies that are managing to produce. They want to eat from the profit, not through the right way, but with excuses. So once again, I want to congratulate you for dodging out that. So, Mr. Chairman, you have our review. These are things that are outside the review because normally I don't discuss anything on the review. So I want to once again thank you for the opportunity you have given me and also thank the management and staff of our company because without them, whatever we are discussing today would not have been possible. But more especially, on a good note, I have some of my friends who actually insure with us. There was one of them that had an accident on 3rd Mainland Bridge, fire outbreak, and he called you, and you quickly sent a motor and everything to take him to continue his journey, while the company took care of the other one. So these are some of activities that says one good turn deserves another. So when this is spread to people, they now say, let us test that insurance company that did very well this way. So I wish you very good luck. And next time you are giving us dividends. I am happy you are in a Ramadan period. Ramadan Kareem. And you must make sure that the dividend you are giving to us, if I have only 100 shares in the company, you should be able to buy me milk and Milo to be able to break my fast. God bless all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Sonny. You are a very transparent person, and I'm happy to know that you just disclosed You're as much of a patron of Wamco as you are of Nestle. Very well. For the record, though, every single shareholder here has more shares than I do, because I have 0. I'm an independent director. Thank you. May I call on Mrs. Shiyombola?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm standing on existing protocol. My name is Barrister Ganiat Adetutu Shiyombola. I want to seize this opportunity to thank the chairman, the board, and the management for giving me the opportunity to represent millions of shareholders. Okay, thousands of shareholders as a proxy here today. Thank you very much. Well, I want to join the previous speakers. In congratulating the board and the management for an excellent result we are debating about today. And I give kudos to them. Congratulations, keep it up. From pages 18 to 21, where the beautiful pictures of board of directors and management teams are displayed, I observed that we have only one lady as a director out of 8 directors, which amounts to 12%. This is very bad and unacceptable relating to gender balancing. We have 6 ladies in the pictures next to it of the management team displayed. But on page 38, under gender analysis, under the column for top management, we have 5 ladies out of 17, which amounts to 29%, which is also unacceptable as well. On page 28, under changes on the board, I observed that 5 directors resigned from the board and 4 directors were appointed to fill the vacuum created on the board. I want to seize this opportunity to welcome the new directors to the board and to wish them a fruitful tenure in office. On pages 28 to 32, attendance at board meetings and board committee meetings is excellent. Keep it up. On page 35 and 36, directors and their interests. I observed that 4 of the names listed are having direct holdings of our shares. Even our chairman, as he has confirmed earlier on that, as our chairman, even our chairman has no direct or indirect holding attached to his name. Oga, why? On page 37, under donations and charitable gifts, I observed that the 26.7 million naira spent centers only on health and education. It did not extend to social welfare like orphanages, old people's homes, youth empowerment. Please, I want the board and the management to be looking towards that side next time. On page 195, item 3.5, appendix 5A, where we have 5-year financial summary for the group. I observe that a progressive increase on all the items, including the shareholders' funds. Keep it up. Likewise, on page 197, item 3.6, appendix 5B, 5-year financial summary concerning the parent body. I observe that a progressive increase on all the items. Keep it up. Well done. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Madam. As for me, as I said earlier on, I hold very sacred the corporate governance protocol. And so as an independent director, I have steadfastly opted to remain just that. It gives me a totally unbiased view as to how things are going in your company. Thank you.
Good morning, all protocols duly observed. My name is Adeleke Oladimeji. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so delighted. Chairman and the MD, I so much believe in one thing. One of the tough things to define is success. Because if you want to define success, you will define it from your own perspectives. But the most acceptable definition by me is when you define success as when you make a place better than how you met it. So let me commend the board and management of AXA Mansard that they are all successful in all ramifications because they make the companies better than how it was before. And that one, you can see it from page 195 to page 198 of the annual report. That is the financial summary. In 2016, our total assets was 42 billion, but as 2020, it is now 69 billion, and of which the shareholders' fund also increased from 14.5 billion in 2016 is now 29 billion. I've never seen such a magic before. Please, let's give the board and management a big round. I can see that they've worked tremendously to give us this excellent result. And, I'm so delighted, so happy to be part of AXA Mansard family. And, not only that, Sir Sonny was to have just talked about his friends. We so much follow this company and look at them closely in all their activities. Realize that our service is best to none. Also, looking at page 64, 63, and combining it from page 153, sir, our finance costs on page 164, we realize our finance cost is on the high side. And looking at it, I so realized that our borrowings have reduced, but finance cost is still high under the year review. Likewise, I realized that in page 153, on this page, our workforce reduced from 310 to 282. Sorry. Also, that is page 166, the workforce. But we still realize that our wages and salary increased in page 163 from 1.2 billion to 1.4 billion. I believe when the workforce has reduced, some staffs are let go. The wages and salary are supposed to reduce, but the wages and salary still increase under the year review. Also, printing of unclaimed dividend is a welcome development, but a situation whereby the organization have about 4,000 shareholders, and we have over 2,000 unclaimed dividend. I think this calls for a concern. And I want to charge AXA Mansard that they should make use of technology. I observe one thing: some shareholders are not in Lagos, and most times when you fill the unclaimed dividend and you take it to the bank, and the bank said they will process it, I don't know what usually happened. I have that challenges also sometimes ago with one of the registrars. I filled the unclaimed dividend for over 2 months. There was nothing, and I have to fill another unclaimed dividend, and I insist the bank that I want to take it to the registrar myself. So just taking it to the registrar complained to me that the one that I submitted to the bank does not get to them. So I don't know what happened, but I also complained to the bank. They said they've sent it, but until when I took the second one to the registrar, that they are able to effect it. So I went to a situation whereby the registrar can make use of technology. Also, we now have NIN, which is very, very good. It's a welcome development, in which about data of every Nigerian is being captured with the phone number, with the thumbprinting, everything. I think with this, if we make use of this, the unclaimed dividend is going to reduce drastically. Also, sir, going through this annual report, the director's profile is not there, except those directors seeking for re-election. One of those days when we are buying shares through the public offer, one of the things that said a complaint is the profile of the directors. Someone might want to see this annual report and want to invest in it. Maybe I didn't have AXA Mansard before. One of the first things going to go through is the profile of the directors. So yearly, let's make sure all the profile of the directors is in the annual report. Also, we paid a claim of over 20 billion under the year review, which is a very good development for us, because once an insurance is paying claims, we are going to be seeing business, because that is one of the backbones of insurance. People rely on us that anytime they have issues with Mansard Insurance, when they do business with them, they are going to attend to them promptly. Let's also continue with that. And also, the 5.5 kobo, I'm not too comfortable with it. Why? The 0.5 at the back, I don't know how we are going to calculate that. I believe the lowest amount of money in Nigeria is kobo. So I don't know that 0.5. I'm very, very sorry, because I was born in early 80s. In the 80s. So when I was growing up, I know kobo, I know naira. But that 5.5, I'm not used to it. So it should have been 5 kobo or 6 kobo dividend. So that 0.5 at the back, I don't know how we are going to do about it. So going forward, sir, please. So going forward, sir, but I must really commend the complaint, because we've really tried. We've really tried. It is not easy, especially insurance business. And COVID is out. Nobody believes we've really tried, and let's keep it right up. Let's keep it up, and I believe very, very soon the share price will also increase. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Are you volunteering to let go of the 0.5 cover? we'll round it for you to 5. Nona, please.
The chairman, who does not hold any shares in our company, other directors, and fellow shareholders. My name's Nona Awo. Mr. Chairman, I want to start on the note of the quality of our printing. When you send an account, one of the principal functions that account should be able to convey to readers of that account is eligibility. But I can say that your blue color is very strenuous to the eyes, especially when it's also light print, not bold. So it may be necessary, even if you're in love with blue, because looking at what you yourself and the MD are wearing, I can confirm that you're in love with blue. But for us to be able to make good use of this account, it will be necessary that the most contrasting color on white is black. So we need to go back to black. Or the worst case scenario, all that you print in this account, if it's going to be in blue, should be bold. That way it becomes eligible and then people can use it. I will also, to be honest with you, the reason for my coming for this meeting is basically to get an update as to where we are heading next. That is not to say where we are coming from isn't important, but if we know where we are heading, that makes life better for all of us. And looking at this account, page 16, page 171, you already talked about the sales of the pension business. We had sold the hospitality business as well. So it's important that one of the things that you must help shareholders understand today is what is the direction for tomorrow. By the way, the share price of any organization is basically the future. But given what you're doing now, I'm not too sure that a number of your small shareholders understand where the future is headed. So it will be important that you speak extensively to that. But before I continue, I want a confirmation that the drop in staff strength for the subsidiaries from 82 to 57 on page 166 is largely as a result of the sale of the pension business. I want that confirmation. Okay, since you're nodding your head, I can continue. But I also do remember that when the corporate action was sent, it had two legs as to what we're going to do. First was the dividend. The second one was the bonus that also has a share reconstruction. Okay? But I've looked at this account. It seems to be silent on share reconstruction. So what is it that we are doing next? Because like I said, your share price today is a reflection of what you are going to achieve tomorrow and what direction you are heading tomorrow. So it's important that we begin to understand what exactly we were doing. So it doesn't ask for you to round up the number to either 5 kobo or 6 kobo and then find out next year because there's a reconstruction the picture has changed. So let's get to understand where we are headed. I heard the report by the corporate governance company representing BC. But I think that since they don't think it is necessary to tell the other owners of the business their areas of concern, I'll be asking the board through the chairman, what is the area of concern that they have raised and what are you doing to address those areas so that all of us can be on the same page. But the second major concern I will also be asking that you try and address has to do with the way the audit committee was handled in 2020. Between page 29 and 31, and page 50. Yes, it's true that one of the directors left the board.
Please, can you speak into the microphone?
I said page.
I'm failing to hear you.
Okay. There's usually a modeling impact with the. If you look at page 29 to 31, and then you relate it to what you have on page 50, it is true that the second director on the audit committee resigned 2 days before the board meeting. And his resignation on the audit committee also came 9 days after the audit committee had held this meeting. But one would have expected that a replacement will have been made. So we didn't have a situation where we had only just one director representing the. That would have been a little more concern if we only had one shareholder, because in the course of the year we would not have been able to replace. But what is it that informed your decision not to replace the director, so we can also have the full complement of, except you're saying that, oh, directors are not important on the audit committee of the company. I will also be asking that you speak to the fact that our subsidiaries, looking at page 195 to 198, and relating it to what you have on page 7 and page 46. Probably I should start on the note that, yes, I appreciate the fact that the profit by the subsidiary in 2019 was a loss, almost 800 million loss. That is turned positive 2.1 billion in the year under review. But the contribution of that segment of our business is going down. 5 years ago, we contributed almost 60% to the bottom line. But in the current year, they are doing less than 50%. I would prefer a situation where we have businesses that are growing to the point that one does not have the concentration risk. So if anything goes wrong in that location, we are all in trouble. So what is it that we're doing going forward to also strengthen? And it's related to what I talked about earlier as to what direction are we heading, talking about tomorrow. But I want us to tie that into it. And in tying it into it, again, like you have in terms of individual live business, what are we doing differently for our live business, individual in particular, realizing that very many times, even what is within our power, we will fail to do them and we say God will take control. Okay, so what is it that we're doing and that is likely to be different? I am also not too sure that you shouldn't speak to the issue of the non-life, especially the fire and motor business. What is it that we can do to also grow those sides? Yes, I know that the labor demand in those are usually much higher than in the live business. But is there anything that we can do to also improve our market share in those locations? Mr. Chairman, on a closing note, for a publicly quoted company, as indicated on page 6, why will you have 3 unquoted banks out of the 11 banks that you bank with? Why will you have them? If they are private company, leave them, let them be private. We are public. So if we are public, it's important that we also help publicly quoted companies to be beneficiary of our businesses. So you may not have policies around that, but it's something that you must begin to think seriously about. Otherwise, it would not make sense for anybody to be quoted. I started by saying a chairman who does not own shares in the company, and now you understand where I'm driving at. But if other people have invested, it's important that we help those investments to grow. Okay? And it's also important going forward, Mr. Chairman. If you look at what you have again on that same page 6, talking about our officers, the registrar is listed there, and just one line. I don't think that is correct. At least we should have the email and also have a telephone number attached to it. And the same thing applies to what you have on page 221 and 222. we have the franchise and the welcome centers. We should also encourage them to give us their phone numbers so that people can also contact them without necessarily having to look for, oh, where is this located? Okay. Because if we're able to distribute the annual account to the 4,700 shareholders, and you get a situation where this same annual account is helping 2 other persons create contacts for us, it means that we're basically doubling our ability to reach people. And so it's important that we don't underestimate the power of what the annual accounts can help us do in, again, having to do our marketing. Mr. Chairman, having said all of that, I want to appreciate the staffers for what they have done with Donate a Book segments of our corporate social responsibility. Because one of the biggest challenge we have as a people is a situation where we are not giving enough attention to education. This may not be unconnected with the fact that people who are have half education are the one who makes noise all over the place. And they push us around without even understanding what they are talking about in every facet of our life, including even the shareholding position. But it's important that for those of us who can make efforts to help people grow, because like the Chinese will say, a man who stopped reading is not better than a man who didn't go to school. Let's continue to help people to continue to read, but much more especially when we put it in the mind of our young ones. And it's also on that note that I will be hoping that going forward, COVID has its bad side, but it also had its good side. But looking at the attendance that was announced today, one of the things I find is that we have a situation where almost 22% of the minority shareholders, including the nominee account, have made their presence known at this meeting. So one of the things I will be hoping that we'll do, again, looking at cost, is let's have a combined virtual and physical AGM post-COVID, because that way the ability to carry more people along will be better. And what that will also bring is that the issue of even of unclaimed dividend may be one that may also be better approach going forward. So it's on that note I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Nana. Again, I think you forced me to defend myself. Now, more than most, I know that you understand the very essence of why independent directors are on the board of quoted companies. I personally, in my life, have chosen to be compliant with rules, not just in the letters, but in spirit. It would cost very little, and I'm saying that very humbly, for me to buy a couple of shares in the company, but I will sleep less easy with myself. As a matter of principle, as an independent director, I do exactly that. I do not accumulate shares by proxy or directly, any which way. And as for your observation about banking with quoted ones, I wonder if that would apply to businesses and who we do businesses with. Some of the biggest companies in the country that we strive to do business with are not quoted. Should they apply the same rule? I think we should be careful sometimes what we wish for. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Good morning once again, distinguished shareholders. Thank you for your contributions, insightful contributions, I must say. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate. It is not usual for us to have 2 SARs in a room, Sir Sonimwosu and Sir Awonona. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll start with the contribution of Mrs. Bisi Bakari. Thank you for your commendation in terms of the telemedicine idea that we birthed. in the course of 2020. Thank you. And including the AM Best. The AM Best rating has been the rating we've sustained in the last 5 or 6 years. Thank you. You mentioned complaints. We were able to resolve all complaints. Indeed, in the annual report, you notice that we have 10 unresolved complaints. And Sir Awonona also mentioned that fact. Right now, all those complaints have been resolved, all without exception. Mrs. Bakari commended us on the good results. That's why we're here. That's why you have entrusted the company to us. Thank you. On trade receivables, I think I need to speak a bit more about this. 2020 was a very difficult year for all of us, for our customers, for most companies within our economy. Indeed, around the world, it was a very, very challenging year. This affected income, premium income, from the insurance side of the business. You have customers that are not able to pay premium the usual way. Usual way means they pay premium for a whole year, one bulk at a time. We had requests from customers that wanted to pay quarterly, some monthly. And because of the peculiarity of the time, we had to accede to that request. So we were a bit challenged on the insurance part of the business. But as management, we believe that even with the pandemic, even with the challenges, there are opportunities. And we saw the opportunities in our health business. Therefore, we directed some of our distribution resources towards selling health. Unlike insurance, where there is no premium, no cover, same does not apply to the health business. Despite that fact, we have been very prudent with the kind of client that we give credit to in terms of asking payment plan and asking them to pay in installment. And I'm happy to report that our health business grew 28% in 2020. 28%. Right now, all the receivables that you see in the account has been extinguished by those customers. So we don't have any problem with receivables today. But we cannot but give payment plans to the clients within the airspace. That's why we have those receivables. And I agree with Sonny Ngosu, which we will in the future provide a bit more analysis of these receivables going forward. Mrs. Bakari wants to know what we are doing with the new normal. During the pandemic, we invested a lot in hardware, in technology, and we are pivoting most of our services online. Indeed, we believe that insurance is a product that is still sold today, not bought. Some of our customers would still like to speak with people rather than conclude transactions online. But we also believe that there are a lot of the younger generation that will choose to conclude their transactions online. So, pari passu, we are moving all our transactions online as much as possible. We are also improving the number of agents to ensure that we have enough coverage across the country. On recapitalization, I can say that we are now recapitalized. We now have 18 billion naira. Thanks to you, shareholders. Thanks to the approval you gave us at the last EGM. We couldn't have done that without you. Thank you. On the increase in rental income, unfortunately, most of our rental fell due the same year. Indeed, we also had to move from a particular location to another location, which cost us a bit more. That is what is responsible for the increase in rental income. Thank you, Mrs. Bakari, for all the commendations and the advice. I'll move on to the comments from Sir Sonny Ngosu. We have noted your advice that we pay attention to the proper distribution of the annual report. We will try as much as possible to make amends here. Sir Sonny Ngosu also talked about high turnover of directors. I must say that some of the directors that left the company have spent 14, 15, 16 years on the board. We thought they requested to move on to do other things, and we thought it's an opportunity for us to also bring on board new people so that we can have fresh ideas on the board. It's not, as in the last couple of years, I'm sure this is the only time that we've had this high number of turnover, and it's just because some of them have spent quite a while on the board. It's an opportunity for us to inject new blood onto the board. Mr. Ngosu, Sir Ngosu thanked us for being fully capitalized. I think the gratitude goes back to you, the shareholders, for the approvals. Thank you very much. The pending complaints, I've answered that, has been resolved. On claim dividend, Sasoni wants us to, in the future, alphabetically arrange this. This has been taken note of. We'll ensure that we do this. Taxes paid increase, yes. The contribution of our subsidiary to the performance of the company has increased in the last couple of years. Consequently, the taxes that they pay has also increased. I mentioned the exploit or the achievement of our health company last year. I must also say that our investment company is also, doing very well. To talk about yield on investment, our investment company ranked, between the first and the third among their peers in the market. So the contribution there to the performance of the company has increased. Therefore, the taxes they had to pay has also increased. In addition to that, our APD company that enjoyed tax holiday previously no longer enjoy the tax holiday. That's why we have the increase in taxes. Thank you. We didn't pay any fines in 2020. Thank you. Barrister Ganiat Sinyambola noted that we have only one woman as a director. Yes, it is true. And I think I will link this to the turnover in directors that Sir Ngosu noted. We have an opportunity. We still have vacancies on the board, so we have an opportunity to bring more women onto the board. We started with one, and I'm sure you see a bit more women on the board in the coming years. For management, I think for ESCOM, we have 50-50, 3 women and 3 men. But there's a clear policy in the company on gender balance. And we might not achieve this overnight, but indeed, we are conscious of this and will gradually, over time, ensure that we have the right gender balance within the company, within the management, and within the board of directors. Attendance at meetings, thank you for the commendation. Holdings of directors. Let me say that the directors believe in the company. The directors believe in the company and the company's direction. The fact that you don't have shares listed against some directors is not an indication that the directors do not believe in the company. Some of the directors are representing interests of other directors, and they might not have shares directly. That's why some directors do not have shares. And we have, as required statutorily, that we must have independent directors. Independent directors do not own shares in the company. And our chairman here is an independent director on the board. Oh, okay. 0.1%. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Donations. Barrister Sinyambola noted that our donations were focused towards the health and education side of our economy and nothing for the orphanage. Yes, last year was peculiar. The major challenge we had last year was COVID-19. It was a big health challenge, and that is why our donation was focused towards that area. This is not to say that we didn't remember the orphanage at all in our donations. We have groups call houses within the company. And some of those houses, at least 2 of them, their CSR activities was directed towards the orphanages in the course of 2020. Mrs. Yambola also talked about the progressive growth of the company. Thank you. Mr. Adedeji Oladimeji commended the company on its financials, especially because borrowings reduced. Workforce reduced, yes, and as noted by Mr. Nonawo, workforce reduced because we sold a subsidiary. That's why the workforce reduced. But be assured that we're not going to allow the workforce to reduce in a manner that will negatively impact the company. Profile of directors, we have noted your suggestion that we should include profile of directors in the annual report. Claims, yes, our business is to pay claims. And again, last year was peculiar because of the various challenges that we had during the year. The health challenge as a result of COVID, which led to deaths, and we had to pay claims on our group life policy. And the NSAS protest, which led to several losses, especially to small businesses. To small businesses, your company is going to pay claims of up to 1 billion naira on NSAS. So we are committed to paying claims to our customers. That should be taken for granted with us. In fact, we want to be their partner rather than just be a claims payer. Sir Nonawo, I come to refer you to Sir, please, Mr. Nonawo, commended the publication of the annual report and that in the future we should ensure that we change the letterings or try and make it a bit bolder. This is noted, sir. Now, Mr. Nonawo also wants to know the direction of the company, and I think I need to speak a bit more about this. The direction of the company is clear from our activities in the last 3 years. We want to focus on areas where we are the leaders in the insurance space in Nigeria. Recall that you gave us approval to sell our pensions business for several reasons, including the fact that we are, I think, number 19th in the insurance industry within that space. We don't want to play in an area where we are the laggards. We want to play in areas where we are number 1. So today, the company is focused on strengthening its scope. And, for example, in the health business, we are number 1. And we want to be number 1 in that space. We want to dominate. We have 14% of market share in the health business, in the health space in Nigeria. We want to increase that. We want to continue to dominate within that space. We also want to continue to grow our life and non-life businesses. We are not within the top 5 within the life business, but we have put measures in place to ensure that we rapidly grow and become one of the top 5 in the life business. For the non-life, we're in top 5 already, and we want to cement our place within that space. There are several things we are doing. One of it is to increase double-fold the number of agents that are selling life businesses. We are also looking at products. What are the products that we can sell that speaks to the need of our customers? Times in the past, companies will bring products that they know and they want and ram it down the throats of customers. We are looking at things a bit differently. And I think when the customers are satisfied, it is likely that they will come back and buy more policies. Subsidiaries, audit committee replacement. Mr. Nonawo, we needed regulatory approval before we could bring another person onto that committee. That is what delayed that process. I think we now have approval from what I heard from the Secretariat, and that will be redressed shortly. Share reconstruction. We are almost through. Again, thanks to you, the shareholders, we're almost through with everything that we told you we're going to do in terms of recapitalization of some of our earnings, capital reserve, share premium, some of our retained earnings, in order to raise the 18 billion naira required as capital. We have done the bonus issue, but the construction is a bit delayed because we are waiting for approval from different regulatory authorities. I'm hopeful that we'll collect all approvals very soon, and we'll bring that activity to a close. Thank you for your patience. I've noted your suggestion, sir, on the details of the registrar that we should include in the annual report, including details of our welcome centers. That has been noted. Thank you. Why are we banking with unquoted banks? Relationship with banks is a symbiotic relationship. It's akin to you being hungry and your friend is not cooking. Some of these unquoted banks are willing to do business with us in a manner that some quoted banks will be reluctant or might take them a bit longer period to arrive at a decision. So that is why we have some of those unquoted banks. But we usually do rigorous analysis to be sure that these banks are reliable partners and people that we can rely on. We can assure you that. I've noted your suggestion on hybrid AGM going forward. But right now, a lot of our shareholders are logged on and they are listening to this. They can raise up their hand and ask questions if they do have questions. These are all the questions raised. I think I've addressed all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kule. I hope we are fairly satisfied with the various explanations. Thank you very much. So before we take the resolution, we'll go through the video instructions. And if I may call on the registrars to play a brief video presentation to explain the voting process through the use of the electronic voting pad.
Voting pad usage instructions. Please note that the device is only required during the voting session of this meeting. How to use the voting device. Press the Sign In button to activate the voting device. When the status indicator flashes red, the device is ready for use. Press the Yes button to vote in favor of a resolution. Or press the No button to vote against a resolution. Only press the ABS button if you do not wish to vote on a resolution. Please press only one of the buttons to cast your vote. You have only 1 minute to vote for each resolution. However, if you press the Yes or No button more than once, the last button pressed before the end of the voting period will be registered as your vote. Please return the e-voting devices to the ushers after the voting session has been concluded. An alarm will be triggered at the exit points if you still have the voting device with you when you leave the meeting hall. Kindly check your pocket and bag to ensure that the device is returned.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanaya. So we go to the resolutions. I believe it's clear enough. I think we've been through this rehearsal before. To facilitate, we now present resolutions being proposed for approval. To facilitate the smooth conduct of the business of the day, I will move each motion and invite seconders for each motion from the floor. The seconders are kindly requested to say their names to enable the secretary to take proper note of the names. Furthermore, members are kindly requested to follow the voting procedure as shown in the video presentation. 1, to receive the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2020, and the reports of the directors, the auditor, and the statutory audit committee thereon. I hereby move that the audited financial statements for the financial year ended December 31, 2020,
and the reports of the directors, the auditor, and the statutory audit committee thereon laid before the meeting be and are hereby received. May I please have a seconder? Thank you very much. Those in favor of the motion and those against the motion should please signify by voting accordingly on your voting pads.
Voting is over. The results are, at the end of voting, 100% of shareholders present in person or by proxy voted in favor of the resolution.
Wow. Thank you very much. I declare the motion has been duly carried. To elect a director. Since the last annual general meeting, Mr. Kuldeep Kaushik was appointed as a director of the company. His detailed profile can be found in the annual report, and his appointment has been approved by the National Insurance Commission and will now be put before this meeting for approval. I hereby present to you Mr. Kuldeep Kaushik for election as a director of the company. May I have someone second the motion, please? Mrs. Bakari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bakari Adebisi, I so do.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion and those against the motion should please signify by voting accordingly on your electronic voting pads. Now.
Voting is over, please. At the end of voting, again, 100% of shareholders present in person or by proxy voted in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I declare the motion has been duly carried, and I think I can, on behalf of our shareholders, congratulate Kuldeep on his approval as a director. Next is to declare resolution to declare a dividend. I hereby move that dividend in respect of the financial year ended December 31, 2020, in the sum of 1,980,000,000 naira only, be paid as final dividend to shareholders at the rate of 5.5 kobo per 50 kobo ordinary share, subject to the deduction of withholding tax, and upon its approval at this meeting, to shareholders whose names are registered in the company's register of members at the close of business on Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. I call for a seconder, please. Barrister, yeah.
I so second. My name is Barrister Detutu Shinyombola.
Thank you very much, Barrister Shinyombola. Those in favor of the motion and those against the motion should please signify by voting accordingly on your voting pads now.
Voting is over. At the end of voting, 3 shareholders have abstained from this resolution. However, 100% of those present in person or by proxy voted in favor of the resolution.
Thank you. I declare the motion has been duly carried. Next is to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of auditors. Section 408B of the Companies and Allied Act 2020 requires that the auditor's remuneration shall be fixed by the company in a general meeting or in such manner as the company in general meeting may determine. I hereby move that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration and expenses of the auditors, Messrs. KPMG Professional Services, in respect of the year ending 31 December 2021 on the recommendation of the Statutory Audit Committee. I call for a seconder, please. Can we go way back there? Sorry?
Abisola Wamboshi, seconded.
Thank you very much. I declare that the motion has been duly carried. To disclose remuneration of managers, Section 238 and 257 of the company's... Oh, I'm sorry. I suddenly am in a hurry to move on. Those in favor of the motion and those against the motion should please signify by voting accordingly on your voting part.
Voting is over. At the end of voting, 100% of shareholders present in person or by proxy voted in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I declare that the motion has been duly carried. To disclose remuneration of managers, Section 238 and 257 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 requires that every company at a general meeting shall disclose the remuneration of managers of the company. I hereby draw the attention of shareholders to page 166 of the annual report, which contains a detailed report of the remuneration of managers of the company, and suggest that they be taken as read. Is that fine? Thank you. To elect members of the Statutory Audit Committee. We will now take the final resolution, which is to elect members of the Statutory Audit Committee. Section 4046 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 requires that nomination to the Statutory Audit Committee shall be in writing and shall be delivered to the Secretary at least 21 days before the annual general meeting. The Act requires that membership of the Statutory Audit Committee should consist of 5 members, consisting of 2 non-executive directors and 3 members of the shareholders of the company. 8 nominations were received by the Secretary for election into the committee. The valid nominees are as follows: Owolabi Nuruddin Adekunle, nominated by Ajao Johnny Adelakun. Number 2, Adelakun Lukman Adeshola, nominated by Kujenya Olaiwola Yusuf. Number 3, Kujenya Olaiwola Yusuf Adeshola, nominated by Adelakun Lukman. I'm sorry, Kujenya. Yeah, yeah, very interesting. Okunwala Emmanuel Olanrewaju, nominated by Agbaje Ganiyu Oluwole. And in turn, Agbaje Ganiyu Oluwole nominated by Adebayo Adebola Aderemi. Next is Bakari Adebisi, nominated by Akinyede Adedoyin. Then Ayodeji Oloye, representing WSTC Financial Services, nominated by Olabode Aboyeji. And the final nominee, Akinola Akingbola, nominated by Adeniyi Oladunjoye. In view of the fact that the maximum representatives of shareholders on the Statutory Audit Committee is 3, an election will be conducted. To facilitate smooth proceedings of this meeting, voting will be by show of hands, and the 3 nominees with the highest number of votes will represent shareholders on the Statutory Audit Committee. The votes will be counted by the auditors assisted by the registrar and ushers, and the result of the election submitted for announcement. I request the nominees for election to the Statutory Audit Committee to stand up for recognition when their names are announced. All those in favor of election. Well, I thought they could come up as a, yeah, can they come up, please? For those who are here, Owolabi Nuruddin Adekunle Adelakun, Lukman Adeshola, Kujenya Olaiwola Yusuf, Okunola Emmanuel Olanrewaju, Agbaje Ganiyu Oluwole, Bakari Adebisi, Ayodeji Oloye, Akinola Akingbola. Okay. All those in favor? Shall we continue? All those in favor of the election of Owolabi Nuruddin Adekunle to the Statutory Audit Committee should please raise up their hands. Sir. To announce. Okay. Do we all agree? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. To the auditors and to the registrar.
All those in favor of Owolabi Nuruddin Adekunle, please signify by raising your hands. Chairman. Number 2, all those in favor of Adekunle, Adelakun Lukman Adeshola, please signify by raising your hands. Number 3, all those in favor of Kun Jienya Olaiwola Yusuf, please signify by raising your hands. I'm sorry? Okay. The next person, Okunola Emmanuel Olarewaju. All those in favor of Okunola Emmanuel Olarewaju, please signify by raising your hands. Number 5, all those in favor of Agbaje Ganiyu Oluwole, please signify by raising your hands. Number 6, all those in favor of Bakare Adebisi, please signify by raising your hands. Please put your hands down, I'm sorry. The next person, Olabode Aboyeje. All those in favor of... Sorry? Sorry. All those in favor of Ayodeji Oloye to please signify by raising their hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the lady. Thank you. Please put your hands down. The last, but not the the last person. Those in favor of Akinola Akingola, please signify by raising your hands. Thank you. Please put your hands down. Thank you. I believe that's the last person who is standing for election. I'll just pass the results to the chairman after the auditors have signed off. Thank you.
The auditor, would you please confirm that all votes were counted?
Mr. Chairman, confirmed they were counted and audited.
Okay, now we can announce the results.
At the end of voting, 3 persons emerged as Mrs. Bakare Adebisi, 20 votes. Mrs. Ayodeji Oloye, 20 votes. Mr. Akingbola, 19 votes. Now, there were no votes for these other persons. Owolabi Nuruddin Adekunle, Adelakun Lukman Adeshola, Kunjeye. No, nothing. 0. Okay. Noted. 0 votes for Owolabi Nuruddin Adekunle. 0 votes for Adelakun Lukman Adeshola. 0 votes for Kunjaya Olayiwola Yusuf. 0 votes for Okunola Emmanuel Olariwaju. And 0 votes for Agbaje Ganiu Oluwole. Thank you.
Congratulations, all of you. Thank you, Miss Ann. Well done. Well, This concludes the business of this meeting. Yes, sir. Observation.
A motion for remuneration of directors. It's not on the agenda. So if you earn anything in the course of the year, it will be illegal because you did not seek the permission of the AGM to have your remuneration. So, but I just want to know the reason.
I guess it's an important observation. Do you want to address that?
Mr. Sonny, Sir Sonny, apologies. Director's remuneration, I think the last time we brought it to the board, to the shareholders, was in, I think, 2019. But we haven't made any changes. It's still the same amount. So nothing has changed on it. That's why we didn't bring it back to the shareholders.
The Secretary?
Yes, sir.
I think it's a routine thing that every year, whether you are changing the figures or not, you still have to take the shareholders into confidence by giving you a go-ahead approval to implement that. So that there's always a way out of this kind of situation. If it is agreed by the shareholders here who are representing the 4,800 shareholders, we can move a motion to install it and get it approved for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. With the due permission from the shareholders, we would like to seek. I will leave that to the chairman to do the seeking, sir. Thank you, sir.
Did you want to say?
So, Mr. Chairman, after announcing the composition of the audit committee, we can do that.
Thank you very much, Sir Sonny. May I then move a motion for approval to fix the nomination of directors? Okay. Following the election to the composition of the audit committee, the three shareholders' representatives will be Mrs. Adebisi Bakare, Mrs. Ayodeji Oloye, and Mr. Akinola Akingbola. Again, I congratulate all three winners. Thank you. Okay. So now we go back to, and thank you for the observation, Sir Sonny. So, if I may now move the motion for approval to fix the remuneration of directors. May I have a second of this?
Mr. Chairman, let's do it this way and properly, because I know we have a lot of lawyers in our midst and all this and that. Let the shareholders move to install that into the agenda. And after installing it, then you can now move it to get approval, since it's missing from the agenda. Yes. But before then, I also believe that you have to establish the composition of the audit committee. That means those elected today and those from the board. So you seek a motion and get that approved. Since the MD said from a question asked by one of the shareholders that you have now gotten approval of the director that will serve on the audit committee.
Yeah, thank you.
Sassoni,
Yes, sir.
knowing how sensitive our regulators are, my understanding is we're still waiting for clearance and approval of the two names.
Yeah, but you can still use those since it's a board nominee. You can always change. You can still put on any of the non-executive directors on the list. Pending when I will not also advise you to use anybody that has not been approved by your regulators. At least you had my position about the regulators.
Thomas, okay. All right, thank you. So along with the three names earlier announced will be Mr. Tope Adeniyi and Mr. John Dixon, who are presently non-executive directors.
You need to move a motion.
Yes, so I move the motion that, can someone, yeah, please. I move the motion to so constitute, but may I have the seconder, please? Yes, Mr. Kimbala.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I believe that the membership of the Audit Committee with regards to representation of the board is exclusively the prerogative of the board. And the truth is, you have mentioned the fact that you are still awaiting clearance from the regulators. We should not do anything to preempt that approval or to make it look like you have, foisted a fait accompli on them. The board, at its own pace, would recommend and nominate its representatives. The power of the AGM is with regards to the membership as it concerns the other members. My views. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I take them to be your legal view. Yeah. Do we have any other observation for or contrary to this?
Mr. Chairman, whichever way we look at it, the AGM approved the composition of the audit committee. Removal of membership of the audit committee on the part of the board, it's entirely the prerogative because you can change whoever you are sending there. But at the primary level of election on yearly basis, you nominate whoever you want to nominate. With the shareholders do not have any input in, and we compose that committee here. The approval you get on the other one is also the same approval you get on the representative of the board. If peradventure, like John, decides to leave the board, it is the prerogative of the board to replace him. We don't interfere because that approval given from the AGM remains. That's all about it. It's not that we are dictating to you who you put there.
No, that's quite appreciated. I mean, it's about doing the right things right. Nona, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we look at the notice of the meeting and then look at page 8, what you have there is to elect shareholders representative of the audit committee. But usually when lawyers talk, they talk from only one end. Now, what we have seen over the years, and I'm sure that is what is raising the issue that is being raised now, there's a difference between what the law, no, I won't say there's a difference. There is the law and there are the execution of the law. What we've found over the years is that chairmen will come, yes, these people have been, however, this is constituting the committee. What the law is asking us to do is not to constitute the committee, is to elect shareholders' representatives. So even at the level in which we have reached, I don't think we have, there's anything wrong with what we have done. So it's left to you to say which of the options do you want to take it further by practicalizing what the law says, by saying this is the composition of. But that is not what the law is asking us to approve. What the law is asking us to approve is elect shareholders' representative. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Sir Tony, would it be out of place if at the very first meeting that committee were to be duly constituted with the additional members having been approved and confirmed by the regulator or regulators?
If that is the line you choose to go on it, I have no objection. But the practical aspect of what we have been doing is what I have advised. So it doesn't really matter that we have to be waiting for somebody whose nomination to the board is yet to be approved. You have enough materials.
Yes, I'm always particularly wary of regulators' error. And so, not to be seen.
You haven't done anything wrong that the regulators will bounce on you, provided you are not nominating somebody that has not been approved by the regulators. And that's why we said you have enough non-executive directors here that you can nominate. Supposing it takes 6 months or more before the regulator will now give you no objection on this, do you say that there won't be audit committee apart from those elected here? Well, think of it.
Yeah. Your points are very persuasive, but I personally just think maybe they should constitute that at the very first meeting. Do I have enough support for that? Thank you very much. What I do need now is for a member to please move a motion for...
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we reinstall into the agenda the remuneration of directors.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Thank you very much, Mr. Oh God, I'm sorry. Mr. Adeleke, yeah. Okay. So, may I now move the motion for approval for remuneration of the directors? May I have a seconder, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Vote. Yes, may I have a seconder, then we vote. Yeah. Oh, Adeleke, thank you. Oh, yeah. So, can we have a vote on this, please? I'm sorry? No, I just said we should do the voting. Yeah. Looks like they've wrapped up the equipment.
No, bring it back. I am number 4, just bring 4.
Oh, we can use, why can't we just raise our hands? Okay, yeah, that's true. Are we all set? Yeah. We all set? No, I don't. Okay. Those in favor of the motion and those against the motion should please signify by voting accordingly on your voting pads now.
.79% of those present in person and or by proxy voted in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, distinguished shareholders. The various observations and support duly noted. I thank you all on behalf of the board. I go on to, this now concludes the business of this meeting. I thank you all for attending this meeting, which I now declare closed. The national anthem, please.
We do what we say and we say what we do. We constantly set very good standard, professional-wise, to all, even our community as well as all the players in our industry. We are a very healthy company. And this is what we continue to do so that we can constantly deliver customers' expectations and achieve our objective as a company. And of course, the last but not the least is courage. As AXA, we are very courageous. We are innovative. We constantly wear our thinking cap to look at solutions that constantly cut ahead and deliver customer expectation. We dare to say no to things that we think is not going to be beneficial, and we stand to constantly, challenge status quo so that we constantly improve our processes, our system, and our service delivery to our customers. So at AXA, innovation is nature to us, and we constantly deliver this beautiful solution to the market, and we pioneer in the industry many firsts, as you always see. First in healthcare, first in response to customers during claims, first in many things that continue to empower people to live a better life.
Customer first, of course, is about the client at the center of everything we do. But it's not just from the salesperson's perspective. It's from every one of us actually doing our bit to listen to the customer, to understand the customer's need, to understand what challenges the customer is facing. How do you really know what the customer wants if we don't ask them, right? And the biggest challenge is that sometimes we don't ask, we just assume. So it's really about understanding how we can improve that customer's journey. How can we make it better? What would they like? What don't they like? What is more important to them today? Because what is important to them today will be different from what it was yesterday, and will definitely be different from what it will be tomorrow. So it's really about getting every one of us to listen, to improve, to continually ask, what would you like done? What needs to be done differently? The journey is also not about the external client alone. It's about all of us internally, working together, rethinking our processes, the journey that we're on, and ensuring that we can work together to deliver the right level of solution, support, and excellence to our clients. That's what keeps us in business.
My name is Ayodele Adini Adepoju. I work as a portfolio manager with AXA Mansard Investment Limited.
My name is Princess Iriwoba. I've worked in the AXA family for 4 years.
My name is Owen Bitai. I've been part of the AXA family for over 7 years. We have served in various capacities. Currently, I'm the Chief Investment Officer, where my primary responsibility is oversight of the group investment assets. Two key things I love about AXA are the people and culture.
I enjoy helping investors surmount the obstacles of investing in other securities or other investments other than the Naira domiciliary securities. This has been a lovely experience for me. I've worked for 2 years with AXA Mansard. I love the people, This is because of the young intellectuals that I work with, and also the culture here has been very, very lovely.
I also love our diversity and inclusion policy, top notch, and I love how we put the customer first. In my role, I ensure that customers are processed, they get their claims on time. I love how our process are fine-tuned to ensure that we're making our customers live better lives.
When you join the AXA family, there's a great feeling of warmth. More importantly is how I'm able to see my work add value to the company and the customers, thereby empowering them on a daily basis.
Working in AXA is the best.
Drive with confidence, knowing you are covered.